trial process actually proved that Jordan was innocent of murder. Even though he was proven innocent of that crime, he was still found guilty and given a life sentence for murder.
I'm afraid I can't, and I want the real facts, the truth to come out. I did not murder Dawn. I had no involvement.
His life stopped on March the 14th when he was arrested in 2005. That's when his life stopped as he knew it.
I just think he's incredible. And I know that, yeah, I do believe that's a part of being innocent, but I just think he was incredible before he went in there anyway.
Brigitte Butcher has been campaigning for her brother, Kevin Nunn's innocence for 6 years.
I remember sitting there with my dad in the courtroom, and the chap stood up and said that they thought he was guilty. And I remember the walkers standing up and clapping and whooping, and I remember just running out of the door and just throwing everything I had into the corridor and screaming, basically.
Kevin was convicted in November 2006 for the murder of his ex-girlfriend, Dawn Walker.
We'd had our statement prepared to say, you know, thank you for the jury to make the right decision. We had all that prepared. We sat there so sure that this was going to be the right decision made. And we just sat there in shock, complete shock.
Jordan Cunliffe, who's registered blind, was convicted of murder under the joint enterprise rule in January 2008. He was only 15 at the time. The judge accepted he was not responsible for the blow that killed Gary Newlove.
A dead father in Warrington, Gary Newlove, who went outside to confront a gang of youths and ended up bleeding to death on his doorstep. Violence grows in the fertile soil of antisocial behaviour. And here we have a real and growing problem throughout our society.
When he was convicted, in my naivety, when we went to court to get his sentence, I took my other son Gareth, we went, and I said, look, if this is the living nightmare that they want it to be, they'll give him 12 years. And I said to him, but the judge can't give him 12 years. He can't. Even if he thinks he's guilty, you can't give him 12 years because you only have to look at him. And I looked at the judge and I thought, he's going to have to send this child home. And he said, Jordan, you don't have to stand up. It's quite obvious you're blind, but I sentence you to 12 years. And it was like this was this man who knew everything about the law, and he had all of this power, and he sat there and he contradicted himself by saying, I know you're blind, so therefore don't stand up, and then gave this blind child the maximum sentence he could possibly give him in this country at the time. Everyone says, oh, did you break down and cry or anything? I didn't, I was cold. I just thought, this is where my fight begins.
Wendy Cohen set up a campaign for the release of her son, Sam Hallam, with the help of Paul May, who had previously chaired the Birmingham 6 campaign.
This is in the hall, so we've done public meetings here, and we used to do benefit nights here as well. This is his birthday. That's when he was 21. And because his birthday's July, I said to Paul, let's get an open-top bus because the weather would be nice. We had a big cake made. We done all sandwiches and everything. We was going to have like a proper, no drink or nothing. We was going to have like little party outside because I was going in on the visit with my brother and Paul.
So this bus was actually going to prison?
Yeah, it went to the prison, yeah.
Which prison was that going to?
Aylesbury, young offenders. Because we had all the loudspeakers, you know, like Justice for Sam and... Yeah, and to think they sat through that, and it was horrendous, the weather. I don't know how he got through it all, but he did, and I think that's a part of being innocent. He must have been terrified.
Did he talk to you about that? What would he say if you asked him how he was?
I just think they just chat shit, really, when you're on a visit.
What, for your sake?
These are the letters, some of the letters that Jordan sort of gave me on the last visit. He likes the fact that people outside of Britain know who he is, because he feels as if it's travelling the world. On his birthday, he actually received a card and a letter from someone from Australia, and he said, "You can't get much further away than that, can you, Mum?" And I said, "Well, you're at the other side. They know about you on the other side of the world now."
Brigitte took us back to the place where Dawn Walker's body was found, near Bury St Edmunds.
It was quite open when I came last time, you could get right to it. So Dawn was found just over there, so there's just sort of an area next to the footpath, and then just in front of that is the river where the sort of the vegetation sort of goes away there. So this is a more obvious route of access here, I would have thought.
The original investigation found traces of sperm on Dawn Walker's thigh. Brigitte believes new forensic tests on the sperm sample could hold the key to overturning her brother's conviction.
Kevin said to me, I remember him going in to see this solicitor, McCarthy his name was, a local solicitor, and Kevin said, "I don't know whether this is relevant at all." He said, "But they've found some sperm on her body." And I said, "That's great, that's our get out of jail card, you know, we're out of here because you've had a vasectomy. If there's sperm on the body." And he said, "Well, do you think that's..." I said, "Yeah, that's it. You can produce semen, but you can't produce sperm. If they're sperm heads, that's completely different."
Suffolk police have refused to grant access to the forensic evidence, stating that the prosecution had said the sample was largely irrelevant. Each week, Janet Cunliffe makes a 75-mile journey to see her son Jordan at Swinfen Hall Prison in Lichfield, Staffordshire.
So when I go to see him now, visits are about having a nice time rather than being traumatic, so I am a lot more settled. I picture us coming down the steps of the Old Bailey and he, you know, he's free and how wonderful that'll be, and bringing him home and celebrating. But I also know from experience of speaking to other people who've been in prison and been a miscarriage of justice, that you're looking at someone who's going to be very traumatised. I'm preparing myself for that with Jordan, because I know, you know, it's not going to be just one big celebration and life goes on. I know there's going to be a huge amount of trauma that goes with his release as well.
I just think he was in shock. I think we all was. We walked out and it was like, I don't know, the champagne was like fire hoses.
Sam Hallam was released after an inquiry by Thames Valley Police. New evidence from his mobile phone revealed he was in a pub with his father on the night of the murder. Both Sam and his family have struggled to come to terms with life after prison.
None of us are what we were. I kept saying to Daisy, it'll all be different when he comes home, and it ain't. It ain't. I just think it scars you. How can that a weapon and don't just because they've let him out go away, does it?
Is there anything he can talk about yet?
Doesn't mention any. Never. Just since the day he's been home.
And do you try to talk to him at all?
No.
While we're at Brigitte's house near Diss, Kevin phones her from prison.
You know more than me what it must
Yeah.
be like out there against the public, a whole tidal wave of apathy with public opinion. They've got on with their lives. I'm afraid I can't, and I want the real facts, the truth to come out. I did not murder Dawn. I had no involvement, no commission. I wasn't involved. I'm factually innocent, and that was the fantasy case that was put into that courtroom. And I still believe that if we could revisit the forensics, that there is the potential there to forward this case and undermine the original case.
I suppose today it just brings it all back again, and yeah, it's very difficult, very difficult. You can't bring that 7 years back, can you? You know. And, you know, it's awful for our parents because, you know, they're at the end of their life, and to think that their son is in prison and he shouldn't be there. Sorry. It's awful. I don't know what else to say.